Welcome to the latest episode of the MFG Radio Network's Manufacturing Matters, where industry experts take deep dives into the latest technologies you need to consider to keep manufacturing moving. Welcome to our latest roundtable discussion, Women to Watch in Manufacturing. I'm Jake Kaufman, the Associate Editor for the Manufacturing Group here at GIE Media. Our panel of manufacturing experts is standing by, waiting to answer questions about getting into and succeeding in a male-dominating field and how they are helping towards a more diverse future. And we'd like to take this time to thank today's sponsors, Junia Holdings, Kaiser Manufacturing, and Wenzel, along with series sponsors Ishkar and Renishaw. Junia Holdings, Inc. is a leading provider of digital non-contact optical inspection systems and a pioneer in the specialty metal fabrication manufacturing segment. They provide solutions for a variety of manufacturing needs in the automobile, aerospace, electronics, energy, firearms, medical, and telecommunications industries. Junia Holdings offers the Oasis brand of quality inspection systems, one of the fastest and most accurate non-contact measurement systems on the market, serving a global client base in a variety of industries. Junia Holdings also owns George Products Company, an innovative specialty metal fabricator that focuses on R&D prototype parts, precision stamping, and refractory metal machining. Kaiser Manufacturing is based in the western suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. Their goal is to provide easy to customize rigid foam workspace organizers for tools and accessories used in production manufacturing and other applications. Their process is faster and easier than other options on the market, and the result is a high-quality finished product you will be proud to own. They value American manufacturing and demonstrate their commitment to made in the USA by purchasing machinery and raw materials from suppliers right in the Midwest. And Wenzel America, located in Michigan, is part of Wenzel Group, specializing in the design and production of coordinate measuring machines, computed tomography systems, and gear inspection. Wenzel provides metrology solutions to the automotive, aerospace, and medical industries to drive productivity and efficiency in manufacturing. A family-owned business started in 1968, Wenzel manufactures world-class measuring solutions and provides the best personnel support to customers across the globe. Now, before we hear from our panelists today, let's get to know them a little better. Mickey Edge is the general manager of Junia Holdings, Inc., and she's been in the manufacturing industry for 25 years with the same company. She's worn multiple hats during that time, everything from administration, HR, payroll, accounting, to production supervisor, shipping, receiving, and more. Prior to working in manufacturing, Mickey worked for Lowe's for 15 years and started as a part-time office employee as a student and working her way to assistant store manager. When she left the company, Mickey was a corporate inventory manager and traveled the East Coast performing physical inventory at store locations. Dana Super is the general manager at Kaiser Manufacturing, a startup company that makes custom shadow foam for 5S, shop organization, and tool control. She has 20 years of experience as a key marketing executive and business development consultant in the metalworking industry. She studied mass communications as an undergrad before finding her passion in manufacturing. In 2014, Dana earned her MBA from Temple University. And unfortunately, Dr. Heike Wenzel, unable to join us today, but you can read her stories of being a woman in the manufacturing industry in our March issue of today's Medical Developments. And finally, Elizabeth Engler-Modick, the editorial director at GIE Media for the Manufacturing Group. Elizabeth has been covering the design and manufacturing markets for more than 25 years. She began her career with Tooling and Production magazine, where she held roles in editorial, production, sales, and as marketing manager, overseeing T&P, along with its sister publications, MetFax and Quality in Manufacturing. In 2007, Elizabeth joined GIE Media as managing editor for the company's manufacturing group of publications. She was promoted to editor in 2014 and editorial director in 2022. Today, the manufacturing group consists of today's medical developments, aerospace manufacturing and design, and EV design and manufacturing. Now that we know our panelists today, let's get to the discussion, and we will begin with Mickey as I ask you, what are the challenges that women face when there are so few in the manufacturing technology space?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I have faced myself is stereotyping. It's getting the respect from, especially, I'm going to say it, engineers that are used to working with men. And then there's all of a sudden a woman in the industry and you're stereotyped. It takes you a while to gain their respect. But once you gain it, typically they're very good to work with.
Awesome. Thank you, Mickey. So Dana, we will ask you the same question. What are the challenges that women face when there are so few others in the manufacturing technology space?
Well, Jake, the good thing is that there are more and more every year. So I think that this is getting to be somewhat easier, but I think it really comes down to just feeling like you belong in the room, just feeling acceptance and inclusion by your peers, which I think is a little bit of another version of what Mickey said. It can feel like it takes a little bit longer to be part of a group in manufacturing, but it just takes a little patience.
Okay, thank you, Dana. And Elizabeth, will end this round of questions with you. So what are the challenges that women face when they are getting into the manufacturing technology space?
Well, I'd have to definitely agree with what Mickey and Dana said. It's getting respect, making sure that you're seen and heard and taken seriously, and that you're there to learn more about the industry. Quite often you're dismissed as a woman when I started in this business, but I will say over the years, as Dana noted, there are more women entering the field, whether it be engineering, sales, production. You are seeing them at shows much more frequently. And so I think that is helping to change the challenges that 25 years ago, if you walked into a booth at a trade show, they would not give you a second look as a woman. And you would stumble upon people every so often who were very willing to teach you something or show you something because you were new in the industry. So those challenges are slowly going away year by year.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. So Dana, we will ask you the next round of questioning. How does a woman entering the manufacturing industry find other women role models?
Well, hopefully they're obvious in the organization that you're in. That's ideally where you would start. But if that really isn't the case, then you may have to look outside the organization. There are industry associations that have individual memberships that you can join and be a part of, whether on a regional or national level. So I think that's a good place to look. If that doesn't seem to be a good option, then certainly we're all on social media talking about our careers and about manufacturing, and we're all more than willing to meet people and help them with their career choices and give them some advice and encouragement. And also, I would say that your role models don't all have to be women. I mean, I've had mentors in my career, as I'm sure others have, who they have all been men, but they have been supportive and given me every opportunity along the way. So that is also a good option.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. So Elizabeth, we'll go to you with the same question. When a woman is entering the the manufacturing industry, how do they find other female role models?
Well, you definitely have to look around your organization and see. And here at our company, we have different groups, not all manufacturing, but we have women throughout. So one thing is to look at the women who are in the marketing department, the graphics department, the areas that we all work with. Another thing is, even back when I started 25 years ago, I was lucky because there were a lot of young women editors at HubeCore, and I see Colleen is actually online watching the webinar, and she hired me as an intern. So there were a group of us that were young graduates, a bunch of us in our 20s, and most, if not all of us, are still in the industry today because we formed that collaboration. We continue to grow in the industry. So you definitely need to look around. And I think I had mentioned earlier, as we were talking in the green room, I had two great male mentors. As Dana just mentioned, she's had some great mentors. Stan Modick and Jim Lorenz were my publisher and editor that hired me at Tooling and Production. And I did not know the industry, and they did not hesitate to explain to me what a horizontal machining center was, what a vertical was, because when you come out of college, you don't know these. And there have been other men and women throughout, especially when you go to visit an open house or a facility, who will take the time and explain it to you, show it to you in person. Those are the people that will really help be, models for you and help you grow in your industry, male or female. You need to find the people that are willing to take the time to educate you about an industry they're passionate about, so you can become passionate about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. So, Mickey, we'll end with you on this round of questioning. How do women entering manufacturing find other women to look up to? How do they find those other female role models?
So I agree with everyone else that you look first within your organization. And then again, whether it be male or female, you find that person that will sit with you, talk with you, explain things to you over and over again if needed. And also your customers and your suppliers are a great wealth of knowledge and support. They will go out of their way to make sure you understand everything that you're working with when you're dealing with them. So I've had great mentors throughout my career. I can't say enough good things about the people that have helped me along the way.
Awesome. Thank you, Mickey. So, Elizabeth, we will head to you for this next round of question. Now, how has the emphasis on diversity and inclusion helped more women enter the industry?
I would have to say that I think women are starting to look at manufacturing, that it is more welcoming, because they're seeing more women in the industry. Whether it's a specific, DEI initiative that a company offers, that's great. But I think it boils down more to women. Like here, we try to hire interns every summer. And I specifically look for a lot of young girls in college who are looking for an internship, so that they can see this market, which you don't really learn about in college, and that it is inclusive, and that when they see who they're working with, when I connect them with, outside companies asking them to do stories, quite often they're interviewing a woman, or they're working with a group of men and women for a story. So they're starting to see while they're in college that it's not this male dominated, dirty shop floor situation that they might have heard from their parents years ago, because that image still sticks around until you actually show them and educate them on that. And that's one thing that we try to do, bringing in interns every summer.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. So, Mickey, will ask you the same question. How has the emphasis on diversity and inclusion helped get more women into the manufacturing industry?
So I have seen over the years that we have become more accepting of women in manufacturing. And we have given them the opportunity to be able to be a voice and learn and grow with it. Part of that has become, we've removed the intimidation processes. We've allowed the enforcement of bullying and racial and sexual harassment. It's just not tolerated anymore. And that has helped tremendously with women entering the workforce, whether it be in manufacturing or anywhere else. It has made a huge difference.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mickey. So, Dana, we will end with you on this round of questions. So, how has the emphasis on diversity and inclusion led to more women being included into the manufacturing industry?
Well, Jake, I think it's important that those initiatives are embraced by upper management for sure, but I also think it's important to recognize not only how diversity and inclusion helps women, but how it helps companies. Diverse teams that are not only diverse in terms of gender, but in people of different ages, ethnicities, or abilities are shown to be more creative and more effective teams. And teams lacking diversity may not have the ability to introduce different perspectives or opinions. So I think that we have to acknowledge that diversity is simply good for business.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. So, Mickey, we will start the next round with you. What can companies do to attract more female workers in manufacturing?
Some of the things that we do is we offer flexible hours for, parents that have children schooling. We also offer schooling where we'll pay your tuition. If you want to go learn about something, you attend the school, you pass, we will pay that tuition for that. And that's for any employee that wants to learn. We started with sign-on bonuses to existing employees. Sometimes they need a jump start to be able to get into the workforce. They need to be able to handle daycare and other things that just come up. So that's some of the things that we have offered to attract females to where we're at.
Awesome. Thank you, Mickey. So Dana, I'll head to you with this question as well. What can companies do to attract more female workers in the manufacturing industry?
Well, certainly, start by inviting them to apply, right? Look for women, as Elizabeth mentioned earlier, to give them an opportunity to join the team. But also our company is making the women that they have visible. Like if you think about web pages or hiring ads or social media pages, or even who's representing the company at job fairs, like are women visible in these roles and positions? Because I think that's really a cue to people when they're looking for a job. You look to kind of identify with a company and culture that you'd like to be a part of.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. And Elizabeth, we'll go to you to round this out. What can companies do to attract more female workers in manufacturing?
Completely agree with everything Mickey and Dana said. And like I mentioned earlier, I look to hire female interns in the summer so that they get an experience with it. And Mickey and I were talking last week, and she even mentioned that at some job fairs, the guys would not approach her if she was there with a table set up looking for it, but approached men. So I think it's interesting that Mickey, you had that experience, whereas it would make more sense to have, you would think, to have women there, bring young students into these job fairs. I know our local high school, the local machine shops around here help and would support the job fairs. And we brought a lot of the girls from the STEM programs to those job fairs so that they could see what was in their backyard, what they could do. And again, see that it's not this dirty climate of manufacturing, which I see we do have a question from someone in the audience about what role the parents take in supporting young girls or women in manufacturing. My parents had the idea that manufacturing was gross, dirty, factory, but because my Stan Modick, who eventually became my father-in-law, had been in this business so long, he was able to explain to them it wasn't that. When he started covering this industry back in the 60s, it was. But when I got into it in the 90s, it was not that gross, dirty facility, and it was not all male dominated once you got into these places and saw that women were there. And there are many more women now. So I think companies just have to completely show their diversity when they're presenting themselves to the public and to job fairs and to get the young women interested.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. So Dana, we'll go to you with this next question. Now, what kind of training is needed for women to get into manufacturing? What are kind of the prerequisites that a woman would need to be in the manufacturing industry?
Well, I don't think there are any prerequisites, right? So if women are not finding passion in their careers, for some people it might be teaching, or it might be healthcare that makes them feel very satisfied with their job. I think in this group, we find that making things is very rewarding. So I think that we have to give people the opportunity for on-the-job training to learn about manufacturing, because we have such a worker shortage. By simply being open to hiring more women, companies are already expanding the available workforce, but there may need to be on-the-job training, because within manufacturing, the diverse kinds of specialties and careers and companies is just overwhelming. And that also means if women or anyone sees a company that does not represent what they think manufacturing should be, there are thousands of other opportunities at different companies that still have fundamentally the same benefits in a manufacturing career.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. So Elizabeth, we'll go to you with this question as well. What sort of training, is involved with women getting into the industry?
Well, I think apprenticeship programs. Companies are starting to add apprenticeship programs because that fell by the wayside. High schools stopped doing shop classes
Mhm.
and basic classes that I knew my friends took to get into the industry when they were in high school don't exist anymore. So you're seeing a lot of summer programs even to get students, young girls involved in summer. You have STEM camps, you have different sort of educational camps. And when you can combine that with a company that's supporting it to bring these children, high schoolers, college, anything into their facility to see it at a young age, that will build your workforce. And when they see more women on the shop floor, a young person coming through will realize this is an opportunity. And if they like working with their hands, like seeing that finished product, you're going to catch their attention, male or female. But it's a great way to show, younger people what the future is.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. And Mickey, we'll end with you on this round of questioning as well. So what type of training is out there for women to get involved in the industry? What kind of things, will they have to learn before they can become a manufacturing employee?
So for us, we advertise a lot of our employment ads with no experience necessary. Meaning we can train anyone that wants to be trained. We can do on-the-job training with any person out there that wants to learn. If you want to learn, we can teach you. The biggest thing that we find is we did an open house and we had a lot of women that showed up for our open house and took a tour of our facility, and they were impressed that it's clean. As Elizabeth said it 100 times, like, it's not dirty, it's not a yucky environment. But as far as the training goes, it's the same for women and men. Young individuals, they just need to look for what their passion is. And trade schools, all of our trade school here they're all boys only. We don't have any for girls. So they're not given that opportunity.
See, that's just crazy.
It is, but that's the story I was telling you. I went to the job fairs and it's all boys, and they look at me and they literally walk to the other side of the hallway. They're like, oh no, we're not doing that. But, we took a young guy with us that, is a CNC machinist, and they gravitated to him.
Well, thank you very much, Mickey. So we will head to Elizabeth to start this next round of questions. How do you/we, I don't know if I can technically put myself into the conversation here, but how do you support the professional development of women in the manufacturing industry?
Well, I think as Dana had mentioned in an earlier question, there are a lot of women in manufacturing type organizations and groups that have sprung up across the US, both regional and national. So I think that's a great starting place, is looking to these organizations and what sort of education or training do they offer, and what sort of mentorship. I know here in Cleveland, there are different chapters of, women groups, but there's also just business women associate groups in the Akron and the Cleveland area. And that offers a lot of different speakers, that offers different training, and it opens different avenues so that you can expand your horizon. So I would say look for those local and regional as well as national groups and see what they're offering that can help you in your career.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. So Mickey, we'll head to you and ask the same question. How can we/you help with the professional development of women?
So as Elizabeth said, a lot of organizations locally, one that I lean on is our Chamber of Commerce. They have a lot of activities that they sponsor that are, they're diverse. They're helpful to anyone trying to get into different manufacturing fields or any other field as far as that goes. And then online webinars, if you direct young girls to go online and look at the webinars available. There's thousands of them out there that help them, that can put them in, guide them in the right direction.
Awesome. Thank you, Mickey. And then Dana, we will wrap up the round with you. So how can we support the professional development of women?
So Jake, I really think you are part of the we in that question, and feel free to own that, because supporting women in manufacturing is about all of us. It's not about just our team. So that is an important thing to remember. And I would say just give women the same opportunities as anyone else. Don't assume they aren't interested or that they won't succeed in a particular role in the company.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. So then we will wrap things up with, or sorry, not wrap up. We still have a few more questions. So I will head over to Elizabeth on this one. How can we mentor and create the next generation of women leaders?
I think it takes the whole organization to support women in that organization. Whether it's a man or a woman, whether it's your boss, your coworker, or somebody from a different team at your company. I think offering them opportunities, taking the time to answer their questions. I know that when I started in this business, you kind of were looked down on, and people would not, like I said, take the time to explain things. So you need to make sure that your company has people who are willing to work with the young people who you hire on, whether they're experienced in the industry or no experience required. The company as a whole needs to have those people in leadership positions to help embrace, engage, educate, and keep that person growing in that industry. Whether it's through, offering them, outside training, outside education, inside training, inside education. You want to be there to support them when they struggle, and you want to be there to give them promotions, give them raises as they should, and not holding them back just because they're a woman.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So Dana, will also go to you with this one. How can we mentor and create the next generation of women leaders in manufacturing?
I think it just means being available and putting yourself out there and offering to help and making time for that. Whether it's talking about the issues like we are today together, or inviting people to connect with us who may be looking for some direction or some support. I think it's just speaking out and offering to help and mentor where it's needed.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. And then Mickey will wrap up this round of questions with you. How can we mentor and create the next generation of female leaders in manufacturing?
I think it's very important to talk to young ladies and share your experiences with them. Tell them how you've accomplished to be where you're at today, and what you did and what they can do to help themselves. And just listen to them and guide them. That's the biggest thing for people. I was raised that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to mold young women into positions.
Awesome. Thank you, Mickey. Now that does bring a question that I'd want to ask, not from the audience, but do the three of you consider yourself to be mentors?
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if someone comes to you, a young female in the industry, and they say, "You're my mentor," how does that make you guys feel? I'll start with Mickey on that one.
Oh, it's a great feeling to have someone come to you and say, like, I look up to you. It's great. And I want to be there to help any young person trying to get into the industry, whether it's male, female. You want to be there to help them. The more you help them, the more they're helping you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mickey.
You're building that tribe.
Yes.
Yeah, Dana, has someone come up to you and said, you're a big inspiration, you're a mentor to me? What is that conversation like?
Occasionally, yes, and that's very rewarding because we're all passionate about what we do. So to be invited to help someone understand maybe what their path or what their opportunities might be is really a great experience. And on a related note, Jake, I was thinking about how how we've all come into our careers. My undergrad studies and my experience was not in a technical field, and I wish it had been. So I encourage women to consider those opportunities, but it doesn't have to happen that way either. I came into the industry from the marketing side and learned most of my technical skills and knowledge on the job. And so there's definitely a path for women, regardless of maybe their initial, their first career step.
Awesome. Thank you, Dana. And then, yeah, Elizabeth, what is it like when, a young female comes up to you and says that, you are a mentor, you are an inspiration?
Obviously, it's nice recognition that they want to engage with you, hear from you, and learn your experience. And like Dana noted, I did not come into this field with a technical background either. It was not an industry I really knew much about. When I joke, but when they said tool and die, I'm thinking hammer and screwdriver when they hired me for my internship, because when you've never been experienced with it, you don't have family in it, you just don't know the inner workings. But to be able to talk to somebody and give them and share your experiences and telling them how they can get into the business, how they can grow, and all of the different opportunities, whether it's what they knew or liked in high school or college or studied, there's always time to learn about the industry and grow in the industry, because there's definitely a worker shortage. So if you have a passion for it, there's always time to get into the industry and grow.
Awesome.
Yeah, and to continue on that theme, Elizabeth, there's one of the wonderful and gratifying things about manufacturing is how much there is to learn, and that's what you've mentioned. Your career path has been. There's no shortage of challenges in these industries, and jobs don't get old, because as technology develops and as you continue to try and learn different parts of the business, it always stays interesting, and I've appreciated that very much over my career.
Awesome.
Let me jump in on that. And the technology is changing. So, I mean, just at how quickly it's advanced since I started in writing about this. So it does not get boring at all, because it's jumping by leaps and bounds, it seems. You don't have manual machines anymore. You do, but it's just amazing to see that change. Additive manufacturing is a great example. When I started in the business, it was printing things that took, 5 days to print one little thing. And as we know, that technology is booming. So it is definitely changing all the time and advancing. So it's something new every few months, it seems.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. So the last question that we have will be, how do we provide a work-life balance with career and also with family responsibilities? Elizabeth, if you wanted to take that one first, we'll head it your way.
I think that comes down to the company being flexible, offering flexible work hours. Our company, as an example, is open from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. So people that need to come in early, to leave early, to deal with kids, daycare, there is that flexibility. Our company has always embraced telecommuting, not full-time, but as needed. As an example, my company worked with me a few years ago when I needed to come in late every day and leave early every day to get my son to a special school. They knew I was logged on and here, and when I left, I would log on when I got home. So I think it starts with approaching the company, and if they respect you and you respect your company, you can work out something that helps to have that work-life balance. But it definitely takes, talking to your company and appreciating what they offer and not abusing it, but working with them so that it can be successful.
Awesome. And Mickey, when it does come time for the work-life balance and career responsibilities, how can we make sure that that is provided?
So we offer flexible scheduling as well. And we offer full-time or part-time. So I have several women on the floor right now that work from 9 to 2, Monday through Friday, because they put their kids on the bus in the morning and they're there to get them off the bus in the evening. And it works. It's a win-win for both. Everybody's, happy. And for companies to offer PTO time and vacation time. So, when you do have that child that's sick, that you're not fearing that you're going to lose your job, because you have to call out for that. You have PTO time for that. And I think another thing that from a small business standpoint, there's no aid for a small business to offer FMLA to our employees. If, that's something that we need to work on and get them to start offering that and help the company with the expense. But the flexible scheduling, I think, is a big thing for parents to be able to be with their kids.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
Great.
Micah. So that does wrap up our webinar today. So thank you once again to Mickey, Dana, and Elizabeth. And thank you to our sponsors, Junia Holdings, Kaiser Manufacturing, and Wenzel. So ladies, thank you so much for your time today. And it was a great discussion.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Great to be with you, Dana and Mickey. Thanks, Jake.
You can find more Manufacturing Matters plus the MFG Radio Network's other podcasts on Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcast, or on our websites at todaysmedicaldevelopments.com, aerospacemanufacturinganddesign.com, and evdesignandmanufacturing.com.